Good day, everyone. So, today, this is Brian again, if you don't know already. Okay, so today we're going to be taking a look at something that I had requested, actually, and this is MT5. MT5 is the supposed upgrade to MT4, but a few people noticed with my system trading access that I've been getting it converted over to MT5 and were asking me why. So I figured I would go through MT5 and give a brief introduction to it. I'm going to probably make this a two-part video. The first part, we're just going to cover the pros and cons of MT5, some of the things it can do different than MT4, and I will cover the proper way to install MT5 to your computer, as in Windows UAC will really cause havoc with this if you decide to upload custom indicators to it. So right now what we have on the screen is MT5. You might notice it's slightly different than MT4, but not too much. So let's cover a little history. Basically, MT5 came out June 2010. It is not, and let me repeat this, it is not backwards compatible with MT4. So if you do have custom indicators in MT4, unless it has been ported over to MT5, you can't use it at all. MT5 has been very, very, very slow to adapt. One of the biggest reasons for that, and this has nothing to do with binary options, is that it's not backward compatible for one, so you have to get all your indicators recoded. Just so you know, there's a couple programs out there that say they can just convert it. They can't. Nothing can do an automatic conversion. You actually need someone who knows some coding to get your stuff converted over. The other reason it hasn't been widely adopted yet is that it doesn't allow hedging, which is something MT4 does. That's, again, nothing to do with binary options, but blah. Other things that have happened since MT5 came out, they announced something called MT5 Cloud Network, which basically, if you've ever used your strategy tester to test it out, it runs kind of slow on your computer. So what they did is they created a cloud network where you can run your strategies, and it uses a cloud, which is other people's computers, but they get basically that you pay for that service. But it was kind of an interesting concept because then you can back test much faster. Other than that, not too much has happened with MT5. It's been getting developed as a better software as time goes by. I personally, I do like it. There's a few things in it that I like more than MT4, and there's a few things in it that I don't like that MT4 has that MT5 doesn't. So let's just take a look. I mean, basically, your setup here is the same. It looks the same. If we look up top, this is the navigator button. It varies a little bit. The way they have indicators broken down for me is a bit more organized. They have them trend, oscillator, blah, blah, blah. So it's trend, oscillator, volume. So the way they have them broken down for me is a little more organized. One of the nice things about it on custom indicators, they have folders here where these are all examples of custom indicators. They have a lot more. I don't want to sound like a retard. There are more stock indicators available in MT5 than there are in MT4, which is one thing I like. There's some really neat ones, like envelopes. If you're a reversal trader, is a really cool one. It's kind of a different take on Bollinger Bands. But all in all, I mean, it just, for me, it gives a cleaner feel. One of the biggest things I do like about it is MT5 runs off of a 64-bit processor, or it's a 64-bit system. So if you have a quad core, whatever, the i7s, the i5s, it can take full advantage of your processor, where the MT4 really couldn't. Another thing that's nice about it, and we'll get into some other things, is MT5, you can get indicators for it in one of two ways. One is you can jump over to www, and I'll put this in the description, .mql5.com. And if you go to Codebase, they've got 74 pages of indicators for MT5. It's pretty nice because if you want to look at an indicator, say for instance this tick volume indicator, you click on it, gives you the description of the indicator, and it actually shows you a picture of what the indicator looks like. To get it, it's as simple as you just click it. This, in case this one's a two-part one, it saves it here, then you dump it into the indicators folder over on MT5. The second part of the video, I'll probably get into more advanced on how to add in indicators cut through this But for now, just to keep it simple, if you're looking for a particular indicator that's not included with it, www.mql5.com. Up at the top, you're going to click on Codebase. You got 74 pages of indicators to look through. Now, let's say one of the reasons some people like MT5 more is they have something called adaptive indicators, which is a new take on some of the current indicators that are in MT4. It's supposedly because MT5 programming language is a little more robust. These indicators work a little better, but I mean that's half a dozen here and half a dozen there. That's entirely up to you. A lot of people just jump on the new technology bandwagon, but ADAPTAVI, you do that. I can't spell. We'll come back to it. But basically, anything, if you type in the adaptive into the search, it'll come up with a bunch of adaptive indicators that are like the newest and greatest versions out for them. But enough on custom indicators from the MQL.5com website. Let's jump into the easy way to get some indicators. If you go to View, and if we go to Toolbox, we'll get to the indicators here in a second, but let's go through the Toolbox. So trade, normal. I'm looking at the tabs down here at the bottom left. Trade's normal. If you're a Forex trader, it shows you what you've traded. Exposure just shows you your currently open, closed, trade history. This is your history of trades. None of these really matter. It has a news tab. Now, news tab is not like a news indicator that pops up and says blah. It's just kind of news as it comes in. More of like a time delayed thing. It's not real time news. Mailbox, blah, you get your messages in there. Now, calendar. This is what I do like about MT5. Right now with MT4, I have to have a news indicator on my screen, and I have to set on my screen, and it'll tell me when news is coming, and it tells me the priority. Now, if we look here, here is news. Wednesday, 18 December, it shows priority. It gives it either a dot with a wave, or a dot with 3 waves, so it's low, medium, and high priority. It's pretty easy. Now, how does that help me? If we go over to, let's say, let me find it real quick. One that's clear. Okay, so this one's clear. You see this little flag right here? That's upcoming news. So it puts little flags on your charts for you. So flag, 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 flag. Color codes them. White is low, blue is medium, and this pinkish red is high impact. So I got to do away with one indicator by using MT5. And I like the news coming from the broker myself too. It's pretty nice. Just like Forex Factory or any other website, it'll tell you priority. It has the forecast, the previous, and then what the actual is when it's released. It doesn't update instantaneously. It's just like those other websites. It takes a minute or two for the actual results to come in. But I do definitely like the fact that my news is now in my broker or on my screen without having to use an indicator, because it just cuts down on the processing power already because I'm not having to add another indicator. Okay, so we're talking about indicators. If we go to the market, MT5 has a market, and I'm going to make this bigger on the screen so you can take a look at it. This is how you can, they have free and paid indicators you can use. If I could do it right. I think I moved it. Give me a sec. Let me close some stuff real quick. Let me pause this real quick. Okay, sorry about that. Too many alerts coming in off MT4 also. Okay, so we're on the marketplace. Basically on the marketplace, it has tabs up top. It's main application, magazines, books, and purchased. You can get indicators, you can get applications, magazines, whatever. As you can see, there's not too much out there other than indicators. Okay, so under main, now if we look at them, here's the market, and if we look at it, it gives you all the, not all the indicators you could ever want, but it has a price on them for some of them, and some of them are free. So if you look, let's say you wanted this, I don't know, the semaphore thing, you can click on it. Here is the picture of the indicator. It just says it's based on technical and price dynamics, blah. It doesn't tell us too much, so we can go to screenshots. Shows us what the indicator looks like, and here's what it looks like here. So hey, I want to give it a try. All you got to do is click download, and it'll begin to download. Now that it's been added in, we would go just to our navigator, and under market now we have semaphore. So it's as easy as that to install a indicator through the marketplace built in. It's pretty easy. And that pretty much sums it up for the marketplace. It's a cool little thing to have if it's something you're interested in and you're looking for a particular indicator. Again, you can see the little arrows a little bit clearer on this chart. These are all your news things up there. So what else do we have out of when you go to View and Toolbox? We have alerts. We don't have any because I don't have anything set up right on this one. Signals, this is for Forex, don't worry about it. Codebase, this is the same thing that I showed you on www.mql5.com. It's all the indicators that are out there. And if you click on one, what's it do? It takes you to the website so you can take a look at the indicator. Pretty easy. That covers that. Experts, there's nothing there, and journal is whatever you've done. So the journal, like it shows that I downloaded and installed the semaphore indicator. So what are some of the other things with MT5 that are a little different than MT4? Well, your drawing tools, for one, you get a few more. With MT4, they're kind of limited. With MT5, they kind of did them nice and pretty. Right now, like, this is the cursor. Crosshair is the same. The settings, let me get in there. I'm going to put a black back. Here, let me take the grid off so you can see some of these. Okay, so that's gone with the grid. So some of the tools, we'll go through them and look. It gives you the thumbs up, thumbs down. Again, they're just a little bit prettier than MT4, nothing big. If we want to see what else is in there, though, you can right-click on it and go to Customize. And I'll show you a couple of cool ones there. They have trendline by angles. Meh. One of the ones I do use a lot, though, is if we go all the way down to the bottom, it has something called Chart, and I like the arrowed line also. So close, and let's make... So here's the chart, and here's the arrowed line. So what exactly is chart? So I'm looking at USD, JPY, and now it gives me a little mini chart that I can drag and drop wherever I want onto the chart. Since I like to look at a 5-minute time frame, but I like to use the 1 minute, and I also like to see the 15-minute, some of the things you can do with this, if you go into the properties, is you can edit the parameters of it. So you can say, if you're let's say you're a Confluence trader, and you like to compare a chart that does the reversal of what this one does, you can go through and pick out whatever chart you want that you think is moving opposite to this. Like I think, let's see, USD, CHF, and the Euro typically will move opposite of each other, so you could always do something like that. You can adjust the width and the height, so if you want it a little bit smaller, you could put 250 for the width, height. If you don't want the number at the top or the sides, you remove these check marks. And if you want to look at a different time frame, you can select M1. Another thing that some people like, and we'll cover this real quick, and I'll go in and show you also where you can get to it, is the periods. It has more than 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, 30. It has 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute. I mean, you can look at the list right here and see. So it has more time frames available. Say if I wanted the 1 minute. There we go. And now I have a 1 minute chart on here that I can drag around wherever I want. So I have a 5 minute, 1 minute. You want to get rid of it, highlight it, delete it. It's gone. The other one I like is the little arrow tool. You can edit your properties the same way when it's highlighted and selected. Right click on it. And if you wanted to make it bigger, you could just go in here, make it bigger. And it lets you then, and I cannot click today. You can drag it around, say, hey, look at price, what it did right here. Nothing fancy. Same things. It has chart shift. If we go into properties, it really is about the same as MT4. Again, we're not going to show anything big here, any differences. Colors, one of the things I do like is what you couldn't do is on the bid price line. You couldn't change the color, the bid and ask line. You couldn't change the color. It had to be grid. Grid was locked into your price, but on this one you can change price independent of the grid. So if you do like to have a grid on your chart, price no longer has to match it. So as you can see, yellow, but if I turn my grid on, my grid is gray. So I get to keep my grid and I get to have my different colors. So overall, I like MT5 more just because it does seem to run a lot faster on my computer. But again, I have a gaming PC, so I like having it so I can blow through charts kind of quick. See, relatively fast, switches right through charts, no lag. Whereas on MT4 on my computer, when I'm doing things like that, it lags out. I mean, you can see if you're familiar with my system, I like it because it's enabled me to color code my system a little better. And the alert noises I have different, but those are my alerts going off. Okay, so let's see. That covers pretty much the basics of it. I really advise, I mean, if you're interested in it all and you're not using any super fancy custom indicators, check out MT5. It's very nice. It does a lot of cool little things that aren't trading related, like it lets you change the background to a picture instead of just this black screen or the colors. Other than that, I like it because of the flexibility, the news, and the speed. For me, it is just so much faster. On average, when my alerts pop, my alerts come up, depending on what type of alert it is, anywhere from 1 to 2 seconds up to a full 10 to 15 seconds before MT4 was alerting me. That in case, I will give you a list of MT5 brokers, but real quick, if you do decide to get it, what we're going to need to do is show how to install it. So once you've downloaded your software, what I really recommend is, I think I have mine under test 2 because again I'm testing out a new system. Create a folder directly to the drive. Call it here, let's do new folder. Name it MT5. If I could type, rename, bad me. Okay, so MT5. Okay, so why do we want to put it here instead of in program files? Windows UAC, the user account control, really plays havoc with MT5 and custom indicators. To a certain extent, I've ran into this same problem with MT4 also. But if you install it to your C drive and just create a folder called MT5, and then during the install process, install it in there instead of to the normal directory, you won't run into the problems. Once you have it installed, before you open it up, find your icon, right-click on it, go into Properties, and go to Compatibility. Down at the bottom, put Run this program as administrator. We want to do that just, again, it alleviates the headaches and everything works fine when you start using custom indicators. If you have any questions on how to install it, please feel free to hit me up on Skype or ask on the forums. I'll cover it a little more in depth. So let's take a look at the few differences we get here. Okay, so if you've played around with MT4, you know the normal file directories. You have to go into that, and then you have to go into Experts, and then into Indicators. With MT5, if you're going to use custom indicators, and I promise next video I'll go more in depth on how to do this, you go to, but I know some of y'all are going to jump ahead anyway, so MQL5, and then we go to indicators. That's all your indicators there. Now, one of the nice things you can do from in this folder, let's say you have a certain system you're trying out and it uses certain ones. With MT5, you can do new folder, and you can do it test sys1, I don't know. But now when you open up, if I close them, let me do this real quick, close. Okay, so now what will happen is if I close MT5 and reopen it, I will have a folder called test system 1, and you can put, instead of having a big mess of indicators, you can keep them there, and I didn't like this system, just delete them and get rid of them. So hopefully that covers some of the questions y'all were asking me about MT5. Again, I really do like it. It's pros of it, so much faster on a modern computer system. If you have a bit of an older system, the recommended RAM for this thing is only 256 megabytes, but really you'd want a little bit less than that, or a little more than that. If you have a 64-bit operating system, though, you're going to love it. It runs nice and fast. Con, again, if you're using custom indicators, search through the MQL5 library for the system. Like, I don't know, if you're using... I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I'm sure EMA. If you're using an EMA indicator, you search for it. Oh, there's EMA. You can click on it, and there it is for you. And this is a EMA on the... Don't know what the difference would be, but you get the idea. You can search and see if the indicators you're using in MT4 are out there instead of going out and having someone convert them first. A lot of times they might already be there in the stock ones. They've really done a good job on converting some of the most common one used and some of the newer ones that are out there. If you have any questions about MT5, definitely hit me up. It's something to play with, and if you're not dead set in your ways, give it a try. It's fun, something to entertain you for a little bit. But again, if you have any questions on it, just hit me up. I will be doing a more advanced video on how to add in indicators into this. I should go take a trade. But anyway, I'll be doing a second video advanced on MT5, but this will give you the idea. On the forums, I will post a link to a few places you can get MT5 from. And let's see, I am using, what is it called? And this is probably the one I recommend. I'll give it to. It's MT5. The reason I like it is because it gives you the news built in. Alpari, whatever the hell you say it. They don't, for some reason, it's broker's discretion whether they give you the built-in news or not. Alpari didn't, but MT5 did, so that's why I stuck with them. Other than that, I mean, I just liked them. They had a lot more assets. If we go to View and Market Watch, they had a lot more assets. Crap I'm never even going to use, basically. But they had some of the less known assets that are on stock pair that I sometimes like to trade. But that pretty much covers it. I'll put all the links in there. Hit me up if you have any questions, and I hope y'all have a great day.